welcome to episode 26 of the Carp Hunt. Today guys, I'm down at Forest Ponds. I'm on the Specimen Lake, and yeah, it's Father's Day today, so I'm out with the kids. Say hello, kiddies.
Hello!
Yeah, I thought what better way of spending Father's Day than out on the bank with the kids. Just got a day session ahead of us today. Obviously the kids have got school tomorrow and that, so yeah, I'm only going to be fishing till about 6 o'clock this evening. So obviously we've got to get these back and get them all ready and everything for school tomorrow. But yeah, the rods are out at the minute. I weren't too sure whether I was going to film today because I turned up here this morning and the swim I'm in, there's an aerator right next to me. It's a big choppy one it is, and yeah, it was making some racket, so it would have made for difficult filming, but it's literally, it has just gone off, so yeah, thank God for that. I can actually film a bit of an episode today. Yeah, but I've got all the rods out at the minute. We got here, I set the bivvy up just for a bit of comfort for the kids. You know, it was raining when we got here as well, so they've got a bit of shelter. And yeah, we're going to get some bacon and sausage on the go in a minute as well, so you know, you can get cooking in the bivvy then. But yeah, I've got 3 rods out. The good thing about the swim I'm in is there's 2. There's this part here behind me, that's the swim I'm in, and then just in front of me there's another swim right there. So I've got 2 rods in this swim, 1 in that one, which I've got a net ready in both swims as well, just in case. It's looking quite good as well. The weeds died down a fair bit already. I was here last week. And no, sorry, it wasn't last week, it was the start of this week, and there was a lot of floating weed up on the surface. It's basically all the Canadian pondweed, where it's grown up from the bottom, it's detached and then it's all floating, but there's still a lot under the surface, you know, a lot still that's growing under there. But yeah, I've got here this morning and there is a lot of clear areas. I don't know whether someone's been out in the boat and actually raked off a lot of the floating weed that was there, but yeah, it's looking quite good. So with the weather as well, you know, we've had just 30-degree temperatures and things like that, like really clear days, hot days, and we've had since Friday now, I think it was, we had a big weather front move in. You know, we've had rain since then, overcast, and it's pretty much the same today. It's a little bit muggy still, but yeah, hopefully that's probably going to send the fish down on the feed a bit more rather than up on the surface basking in that sun. But yeah, last time I was out, it was quite an eventful one. I was out for a 48-hour and I was just going to my local club lake, which we're not allowed to film on there, so I didn't take any of the camera equipment with me or anything. But I didn't get there till about, I think it was like 10 o'clock, no, it was about 9 o'clock Monday evening I got there. Got the rods in for about 10, and not long after I'd caught a bream, had a big slab of a bream. So I got the rods back out, and then again, early hours of the morning I had another bream. And I woke up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as that sun come up and hit the one bang, that's it. It triggered the fish off again, and they started spawning. So, you know, as a good angler, I reeled in and I left the lake. I'll travel back home while I tried to sort out what else I was going to do for that session. So what I ended up doing was getting in touch with Paul down here at Forest Pond, seeing if like there was any availability or anything. So I got here and there was no one at all on the lake. So I had to walk around the bottom lake. But yeah, just with the temperature, how hot it was, just weren't really feeling it. So I went up on the top lake just to get a bend in the rod, and pretty much all the stock was up on the top out there, just basking in the sun, rolling out there all over the surface. I did manage 2 bites. I only fished for a short amount of time though. I only fished for about 2 hours. By the time I got the rods out there, it was about 12:30, and I fished till about 2 o'clock. I reeled in. The heat was just killing me, it was immense up there. So what I did do was come down to the bottom lake. There was another bloke turn up down here. He's from the mainland, and I don't think he'd fished here before. So I had a good chat with him for an hour or two. I had a walk around the lake and that, and yeah, decided to have a move for that night, and come down and fish on the bottom lake, you know, on the Specimen Lake. Chance of a good fish. And yeah, it was in the shade as well. There's some big conifers all along this bank as well where you bivvy up on, so yeah, it was like I had to do it to get out of that sun. And luckily enough I did do it. It was a quiet night, but on the next morning I had a recast with a solid bag just to the reed line opposite me here. And yeah, it was only in for about an hour after a recast, and it went off. Had a nice battle with the fish out there. I had to dive down into the margin down here to land it because it's all weedy out there in front of me. Shoes and socks came off. I didn't have my waders with me, so the shoes and socks came off down into the water. You know, it's quite a bit of a drop down to the bank, so I didn't want to risk putting too much tension on stretching to try and land this fish. That's it, in the shorts, but straight into the water to land this fish, and yeah, I managed to land it, and it was a nice dark 17-pound common. It was fully spawned out. You could like tell it was a nice lean long one. And yeah, I'll clip in a picture of that now as well, so you can see that. Obviously I didn't film any of that because I didn't have the camera footage with me. I just filmed a little bit on my phone, but yeah, it's not the greatest of footage, but I'll clip in a picture now. So yeah, that leads us up to today. That was a nice little session there. I reeled in after that and I went home. So yeah, now today we're on a nice little day session out here today. Hopefully we can nick a fish or two. You know, my last 2 sessions now, it's been doing day bites. Out of what, six bites, 5 of them have been during daylight hours. So yeah, fingers crossed, can nick a chunk or 2 today. But yeah, I'm going to shut up waffling for now, guys. Going to get this stove on, get some bacon and sausage cooking, and yeah, I'll speak to you shortly. Tight lines. Right guys, just while it's a bit quiet and waiting for a bite, just thought I'd have a quick talk to you about the rigs that I tend to use in my fishing. So today on this session, I've opted for solid bag rigs. You know, it's still quite a bit weedy out there, and where I'm fishing, all 3 rods are fanned out over to the far margin on the reed line over there. Now between you've probably got about that gap between the reed line and where the weed's starting out there. It's quite patchy in that anyway, and like I say, it has thinned out a little bit now. So yeah, perfect situation for that is a solid bag. You know, I'm hitting that gap just in between, so I know I'm going to be presenting. Even if it's on a little bit of low line weed, I know that's going to be presenting. So what I like to use is a size 4 carve shank hook on there, and I fish it like German style basically, just with a bait screw on there. It's just so much easier. And yeah, just a short little short hook link. The hook link I'm using at the minute on this is some camo hook link. It's not coated or anything like that. It's just a supple hook link that I'm testing out at the minute for pulse fishing tackle, which hopefully they'll be bringing to the range quite soon. And yeah, what I'll always do as well is I'll use a 12mm pop up on there. Normally, I haven't got it at the minute because obviously this is just one that's been pre-tied, but normally I'll have a little shot or a bit of tungsten putty there just to counteract the weight of that pop up. So yeah, solid bag rig, that's my go-to every single time. I'll put a little kicker on there as well, as you can see. Every fish I'm having is pretty much nailed, and yeah, they're holding up well. The one I caught from here the other day as well, it's weeded me up a few times going from the reeds back to the bank, and yeah, it held true all the way to the end, and there was a big ball of weed around that fish as well, so yeah, I was definitely confident in that. The other aspects I'll use a solid bag is safe up on the top one. It's a bit more of a runs water, you know, it's pretty much flat out there. And what I like to do is, because you're fishing with a lot of bait up on that lake there, really, you know, you get a lot of bait out there, there's a lot of fish, you want to draw them all in there. So I like to use a solid PVA bag in that situation, because I find it just gets me quicker bites. Even though I could be fishing something like you know, a standard rig, a D-rig, looper liner, something like that over it, you know, and still get them bites. But I just think when you just got that little single there amongst a load of bait, a solid bag, you know, presentation does just get the fish to home in on that straight away. You get a lot quicker bites, I find. The one rod, sorry, that I've got on this session actually is the one that's in the other swim, fishing over to the tree. When I've had a little cast about over there earlier, there is a nice little clear spot there. I was getting a proper firm dunk down on it. So with that one, I have opted for the D-rig looper liner. This rig has done me so well lately, you know. It's been my go-to rig 90% of the time when I'm not using solid bags, that is. If I'm fishing on a clear area, you know, that'll be my go-to, because I know I'm presented, and I'll always just use a small wafter on there. I do find the smaller baits pick out the bigger fish as well, so that's what I'll tend to go to on there. And yeah, I always use the large D-rig looper liners again on a size 4 curve shank. What I tend to do as well, because with the bait screws, sometimes they can be a bit tight. You do get them on there, but it can be a bit tight sometimes, and when they're on there I find it can be a little bit restrictive. So what I use for that, just to get around that, is I'll use a quick ring clip. So what I'll do is the bait screw will go onto that quick ring clip, and then that just goes onto the D-rig looper liner then. So much easier, and there's a lot less restriction on it. The bait has a lot more movement along that D-rig looper line, you know, and I think that does just help nail that fish every time as well. It just sends that hook in better, I find. So yeah, I do like that as well. Another rig that I haven't actually used yet, I've never tied. I'm quite fiddly when it comes to tying up things like choddies and that. But I thought I've got to have a go at him because this is a hinge stiff rig here, and yeah, I think it's just a good rig to have in your armoury. You know, again, the only thing I do differently is when you're tying off the chod, normally you do the little D on the back of it there, so you'll take the tag end back through, which trying to get them through 3 times, it's quite fiddly. Like the way to do it normally is cut the tag end at an angle, so it's like it's at a point kind of thing, so it goes back through easier, but even still I find it just too fiddly. So all I'll do is put a bait screw on there and the hook stop. All I'll do is bring that right close back down, so it's only a little gap there then for the movement, and it does keep that chod section kinked right over as well. So I was going to give that a go this session, but I don't feel like I need to use it at the minute. Obviously in situations for using that, it's like helicopter rig over short, like a little bit of choddy or, you know, low line weed, things like that. But I'm confident in how I'm fishing. Like, you know, I use these rigs all the time on it and they work, so there's no need for me to be changing and experimenting with things at the minute. You know, if I want to try and experiment with this type of rig, I'd rather try and experiment on a run swatter to build up a bit of confidence there in it myself, kind of thing, before using it on here. You know, you're fishing for decent sized fish and I don't need an excuse to not catch them. So yeah, I'll try and just stick to what I know and keep everything as simple as possible. Pulse fishing tackle at the minute as well, with all their hooks, they've got 4 for a tenner as well, so you know, £2.50 for a pack of hooks, and they're absolutely amazing. The hooks are just as good as the top brands out there, so yeah, definitely head over and give them a try, guys. At the minute as well, there's a green bar at the top of the website. If you click on there, you register up and you get 10% off your first order as well. So yeah, head over to www.pulsefishingtackle.co.uk and give them a look, guys. You will be impressed. You know, I've been using them for a while now and they've done me good. I've had some good fish on the bank, and you know, they've stood up well in every situation I've used them. So yeah, head over and give them a try.
Trouble, me on this, could be around me, fingers in my mouth, trouble, me on this, could be around me, fingers in my mouth.
Alright guys, so I just thought I'd give you a quick update. It's 2:30 now. There's not been too much going on. I have seen a few fish about today. They've been up in the top end, there's been a couple crash out and the reeds have been knocking a little bit, so there has been fish moving around and in the vicinity. The main place where I'm seeing fish though as well, it's where the weed's a bit denser. You know, I think they're just holding up in that weed at the minute. I think they're just liking the safety of it, and you know, weed being weed, it's going to be full of naturals in there and everything as well, so yeah, I think they're getting the rates down in there a little bit. But yeah, we're going to start slowly packing up around 5 o'clock. Obviously the kids have got school tomorrow, so don't want to keep them out too late tonight. But yeah, we've got until about 5:30, slowly packed down, so yeah, we've still got like 2.5 hours yet to go with the rods in. Hopefully something comes across that bait soon enough. You know, I've got 3 stacked along that reed line there, you know, and I have seen them knocking there. It's probably a few rod lengths here and there off of where I've put the baits, but you know, I had a bite on the week off one of the spots I'm fishing on as well, and then the other one's over to a tree, which is normally quite productive, and then there's a tree to my right as well, which there's a lovely little clear spot in underneath there, which I've got a cast just lovely, and it's just kissed the tree on the way in with a solid bag. So yeah, it's in nice and tight into that little clear patch there. So hopefully next time you see me, I'll be holding a nice big fish. Tight lines. So it's come to the end of this episode now. Sadly, no fish on the bank. Well, it's 6 o'clock now, so yeah, I can't hang it out any longer as much as I want. So I'd love to stay until 9, 10 o'clock tonight. It's looking absolutely amazing. I know at the minute it looks like it's really due a bite, but hey ho, got to pack up, go home, and get these kiddies back and get them sorted, ready for a busy day at school tomorrow. You all had a good day,
Yeah.
even though there was no fish on the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Right guys, as always, if you like what you're watching as well, give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.